Hello and welcome to the Simuldub Saints, your guide to seasonal anime dubs. I'm your host LaserKid, and with me as always is my trusty co-host.
Hello, I am Archangel, lover of cat girls.
And we have a surprise special returning guest today.
This is Kuro, lover of cats.
Aha! Well, you've all been listening to our theme song, Wherever I Go, from friend of the podcast, Ampren. Please check out their awesome music, link in the description.
And today's episode has been sponsored by Ace Chemicals. More on them at the end.
And the end is going to be very interesting because Art's really only with us with the news today, although there is a lot of news. A lot of news.
Yep.
But we will
So
be
you'll
discussing...
probably be getting canned ad read arc at the end. But
we'll splice that in. But there's a ton of news. Now, this is not... Some of these are new, some of them aren't. Well, especially by the time y'all hear this. But it is the end of an era. The My Hero Academia manga concluded on Sunday, August 4th. Pour one out. That's a legendary run.
Yeah.
How many
it's good
years?
that they drew the line.
I don't know when the manga started, but I know that I first saw the anime in 2016, so that's a good run.
It's just so weird to think of them ending when you have like One Piece and
No, this is how I felt when
Right,
Demon
but if you try
Slayer
to keep
ended.
things going forever, if there's any actual plot, I mean, for example, WWE is one thing. There's, it just continues, or Days of Our Lives. There's no real over plot. But this, you can't jump the shark. You got to draw the line when it's time to draw the line. And
I mean, even One Piece is finally in its final arc, although that's been a very long run. Holy cow. But not every story is One Piece. I will say One Piece makes it work, because the scope is that big, and it does a good job of it. But, I mean, Hero Academia is close to, if not a decade run. That's no joke.
all right.
yeah. And honestly, it was kind of seen as the inheritor of that shonen tradition, that big, long-running shonen tradition when it first came. So I guess that kind of opens up the door to something new, something fresh.
Well, to quote All Might, you're next.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to have, metaphorically, a shonen-style tournament where lots of new manga will show up, and we'll see who's left standing.
Well, speaking of new Shonen Jump, Kaiju No. 8 has got Season 2 confirmed for 2025, and a Season 1 compilation movie, because that is all the rage, with an original story, Hoshina's Day Off, added into it. So Kaiju No. 8 fans are going to be eating good for a while.
All right.
And that's definitely Shonen Jump, and that's my favorite Shonen Jump at the moment, outside of One Piece, because nothing beats One Piece for me, but that's me. Me and Sketch, we're gonna go on the cruise.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna feet.
But this next one actually surprised me, because a lot of these things end up as one season one-note wonders, but The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic has a Season 2 confirmed. Which...
Excellent.
I really liked that one, so that's really exciting, because it was one of those just surprisingly okay to good show. Better than I had any right to be. Don't have much more in terms of release date or anything, but it's coming. I love this trend of saying, hey, here's another season. It's coming. We don't know when yet. At least you don't have to worry and wait forever, like, say, Devil's a Part-Timer had to wait 10 years. Or me with Infinite Dendrogram still waiting for another season. Come on, you cowards. Give me more Infinite Dendrogram. I beg you, please. Please give me more Infinite Dendrogram.
Well, what LK explained to me the other day that I did not know, and I imagine anybody watching this probably knows this, but what the hell? Apparently, a lot of these one-season wonders are made into anime simply to promote the light novels and then don't continue, which is just criminal. And that's made me really depressed, because it made me realize that we're probably not getting more of the bookworm anime at this rate, which is an absolute crime against humanity.
I do believe that that's going to be one of those that suffers, because that's straight up done. The last book is being released chapter by chapter right now.
I know, but they better be working on more of the anime because I want to see all this craziness.
Oh,
animated.
Absolutely. The later parts of Bookworm are insanely great. And there's a lot you don't know about because you need to catch up on your reading, young man.
Yeah, I know. It's just I don't want to put myself into Detlinda's headspace.
You're holding that Band-Aid, just rip it off. It won't take long.
I'm trying. All right. So,
what
also
I was going to
just
say on that front before you go beyond that, Bookworm is a case where I do believe that we actually might see more just because of how big it turned out. And that is something we're starting to see more of. And I love that. Delta Part-Timer got a season 2. Spirit Chronicles, which is one of those one-offs I thought I'd never see continuation, is getting a season 2 next season. So it is starting to change.
I guess.
But it is a real frustration.
If the anime flops, whatever. But if the anime is well received, then they pretty much, and there is more material, they really should continue.
It usually comes down to, is it popular, and can we use it to promote ongoing books? Like they'll make more seasons if the books are still going, because they're just advertising the new books. If the book series ends, that's the death knell of any anime project. Usually, although that has been changing slowly. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm just saying, if the anime continues to make you money, why not? It's not like the books go away. It's
just a way certain companies think, whether or not they're right, which I agree with you, but but you were going to say something.
On the other hand, there are a finite number of animators in the world, so I can see both sides. The only thing I wanted to say is hashtag Quidditch is for scrubs.
Nah. Dinner for the win.
Yes.
Also, things I didn't think I'd see: Shangri-La Frontier Season 2, not only confirmed, but set for October 2024. That's fall. That's coming right up. And we had it already ran for 2 seasons back to back previously this same year. Somebody really liked Shangri-La Frontier. And you know what? I'm for it because Birdhead Muscle Man for the win. It's fun. And then the one that surprised me the most. Elusive Samurai is getting a dub.
The artwork looks gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. No, this was on my list of shows I was going to watch subtitled, and then I never got around to it. And now I will just watch the dub. Hold off. Yeah, well, the dub's actually out now. Like, literally out now. As we speak.
Good God, it's August already.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
I just renewed my car registration. Trust me, I know it's August. I wish it wasn't. But just, this is one that I really caught my attention. And this is why I always say it's never too late for a dub, even if I don't think it's going to get something. They just late jumped in and like, oh yeah, we're going to dub that. And there you go. So, all these shows that I'm always saying, give us a dub, Crunchyroll. It does happen sometimes. So, good to see that.
Solid cast, too.
Oh, yeah. No, we're totally going to get into that. But the first episode came out Saturday, August 3rd at 3:30 Eastern. So, Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, you probably get more Elusive Samurai dubs. The cast is absolutely stacked. We've got Abby Trott, who's Nezuko in Demon Slayer, and
love her.
Machi in Hunter x Hunter. Oh yeah, she's amazing as Hojo Tokiyuki. Please don't come me, I haven't seen the show yet. Courtney Chu, who is Kanari in I cannot pronounce that show. Masetsu Opening Act. There wasn't a lot of credits for her, but I love this upcoming. There's a lot of up and comers lately in these dubs, and I'm really all for it. But she's going to be playing Shizuku. Brittany Cox, Pirate Princess Fena herself, and Kaidena in Octopath Traveler 2 as Ayako.
I gotta play that game, man.
I need to play the first one still.
I need to play the first one as well, but yes, all the video games.
Oh yes, so many games. Jeannie Tirado as who is Yod and Delicious in Dungeon, which is something I need to watch. Ark, you and I should probably watch that
That's a
together.
good show.
That's all I hear. I hear it's amazing.
Yeah.
And for me and Ark, Katarina Clay's in My Next Life as a Villainess as Kojiro. I'm always down for more of that. Heck yeah.
Isn't that a guy's name? Kojiro?
So
So it must be it must be a kid.
I told you I haven't seen the show yet, so I have no idea who these people are.
Fair enough.
Caitlin Robrock is who, from what I can tell, is just Minnie Mouse in a lot of recent Disney stuff.
Does she do Minnie Mouse in Kingdom Hearts too? Curiosity.
Let me get the full list here. She was Minnie Mouse in Once Upon a Studio, that recent short film, not short film, like Disney short they made to celebrate the anniversary of the company. Mickey and Friends Trick or Treat, Disney Illusion Island, The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Silly, Disney Speedstorm, Mickey Saves Christmas, Disney Dreamlight Valley, The Wonderful Summer of Mickey Mouse, The Wonderful Winter of Mickey Mouse, Mickey and Minnie Wish Upon a Christmas, Mickey's Tale.
I have a feeling.
Yeah, I don't see her in Kingdom Hearts
doing something else, though.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of Minnie Mouse.
Anything but Minnie.
I did see she's in Fire Emblem Engage as Chloe. I don't know Fire Emblem Engage that well, but like there was so much Mickey Mouse. I had to at least credit that because like that's like most of her work from the look of it. But again, hey, I'll take the newcomer, and yeah, doing something on Minnie Mouse, I can imagine.
Yes.
Although apparently she's also in the Alone in the Dark game that came out, or I don't know if it's came out or if it's come out for this year. But she plays Yale Klein there, so she is branching out. And like I said, I love that we're getting more and more people. We've got Stuart Allen, who plays Robin, the Damian Wayne version of Robin, in way too many DC animated films to name. There's just so many of them. And Ichiro Dazai in Shin Megami Tensei 5 as Fubuki. We have Jonah Scott, Jonah Scott, you are my new best friend because you're Katakuri in One Piece, and I just finished Whole Cake Island. That's amazing. And also Aoi Kaguragi in Kaiju No. 8 as Takajui Ashikage. So, good to hear this guy again. He knows what he is doing, let me say. Holy crap. I mean, also, you guys heard him in Kaiju No. 8, so there you go. And then lastly, out of the list at least, certainly not least, Rico Farado. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Fajardo, there we go. I am not the best at pronunciations. This is what we are. If you haven't already learned that about me, now you go. But
I got you.
I appreciate that. The main character in Blue Lock, Yoichi Isagi, Benny Maru in Reincarnated as a Slime, and because I normally am only listening to, but Taiju and Dr. Stone. I have to include that because I have to include my Taiju buddy.
Hell yes.
Well, if he's Benny Maru, then presumably he is the best voice actor in the entire world.
Yes, clearly. But he is voicing Sua. That is a really good cast of people for the Elusive Samurai. So get excited, as they say in Dr. Stone. Lots of cool things coming from that. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of that. And our last piece of news, this is not new news. In fact, I learned this when I was at Anime Expo and threw up my back. Yay! This is one of the things.
Not to you throwing out your back.
Not throwing out my back. That was not so fun. But you know what? This is one of the panels I actually did get to go to. Poor Sketch had to do so much on his own. But I did get to go to the Aniplex panel, and they did announce the 4th season of Blue Exorcist Beyond the Snow Saga for fall 2023. Right, we go years and years and years between seasons, and it's like, oh, hey, we're only going to make you wait a season or two, and then more. Yes, please. Thank you. Yeah. Blue Exorcist fans suffer so much. We love getting more.
It's smart for a lot of reasons, because first of all, since it just ended, it's not giving you enough time to forget about it, and also because it's, as we'll discuss, it's kind of piggybacking off of an existing storyline,
Oh yes.
you know, it'll tie in really well. It makes sense to have it come soon afterwards, you know.
Having
Gremlin,
read a
stop it.
lot of the manga, not all of it, I fell off at one point, but having read a lot of the manga, I was surprised it stopped where it did this current season. So I'm glad they're going into the rest of this because there's a lot left over to deal with. It's not a clean break at the end of this previous season.
Honestly, I don't mind if this is the pattern of releasing, like, let's do short 12 episode seasons but release them frequently for, say, like something that's long-ish running, not long running, but, you know, like,
I mean, yeah, Blue
just
Exorcist has been
under
going on for like over a decade.
yeah. But if they just keep releasing like short seasons and they have storylines that way and then just keep adding on to them, like, I feel like that's the trend now with a lot of these series, and I'm not like against it. I feel like that if that's the most cost-effective way to do it, that still gives people content, like ongoing content, and they only have to wait a few months. I think that's great.
I agree.
Do what
I'm
you gotta
loving
do.
this season on, couple seasons, 2 seasons off, right back at it. That is actually something I've really been enjoying in anime in general lately, because it's like,
Yeah.
hey, the things you want to see, come right back. That is always great. I loved it when like Wimberg was like, yeah, we're gone, but we're coming back, we swear. Season 2 confirmed immediately. I'm loving that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I want to talk more about it, but I don't want to get spoilery for Ark in case he ever decides to watch it.
Ark, what are your
If-
chances of watching the rest of this?
About 5%.
That's kind of what I figured.
And
Fair enough.
I guarantee you, Kuro, if whatever you say, I probably won't remember because
That is
I won't
actually
have
true.
anything to associate it with because I don't know who anybody is. So
Ark into a Shonen Jump is difficult. I have had so much trouble with you in shows outside of Dragon Ball. You took to that.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not in the mindset to try and force someone to like something that I like.
Right. I'm not. LK has trouble forcing me to watch anything of any great length because I sat through all of Dragon Ball and all of Dragon Ball Z for him. And
Yeah,
yes,
I would
I
never
am
do
going
that.
to use that to defend myself until the end of fucking time.
No, you did. You
I would
absolutely
never
did.
do that. You're a good friend. I would
Well,
be like,
Well,
At
it
the
was
time
only
we were
for like
roommates.
2 years, and we were roommates, so it's not as bad as it sounds. But
Yeah, we were roommates. We were hanging out in the same apartment, and we just like watch like maybe 2 episodes at a time, maybe 3.
It was me playing like turn-based games, and then whenever someone actually said something, I would look up. That's kind of how it went.
yeah, I can see that. You'd also have to bribe me with alcohol, Laser, if you tried to do that with me. I'd be like, all right, where are my drinks? Where's my wine?
My
That's how
standard
this
thing
works.
whenever I try to get someone into anything is I'm like, just try this chunk here. That wasn't the case when we lived together, but that is kind of where I've gotten. Like, all right, give this this little arc here a try. If you don't like it after that, I won't pester you again. My thing with you and One Piece now arc is I'm not even saying that. Just go watch the live action one. If you don't like that, then whatever.
That's fair. I would suggest the live action. Give it a 2 episode try, and then if you don't
Sure,
like it, you don't like it. Move on with your life.
Considering how much of the anime I watched, I mean,
You
it's
watched
just
3 episodes.
I watched a hell of a lot more than
No, because I quizzed you on what you remember, and what you remember is about 3 episodes.
Hey, if he doesn't want to watch it,
I mean, you don't want to watch, don't watch it. But like, seriously, just give 2 episodes of the live action.
Yeah,
one.
if this is how you're going to evaluate, again, I remember watching quite a lot with you. Okay, I don't remember what happened, but the amount of time I'm pretty clear on.
Hey, this is post-recording editing Laser Kid here. We get ourselves into a bit of a semi-religious conversation here, but it's mostly connected to how it relates to Blue Exorcist and varying religious texts and how that connects and how we don't think you should take things too seriously. And we also kind of get into how creativity works. Some really good stuff. We eventually twist over to Final Fantasy. That has been cut out and put into some bonus content that will go up before this does, so hopefully you've seen it. But if you want to skip right to the Blue Exorcist conversation, go ahead and skip to 3439. I will be putting in a chapter mark, so it should be real easy to find, but if you're good for it, enjoy.
Here's my argument, not for you, but for any listeners for Blue Exorcist. Look, the teenage stuff is obnoxious after the age of 22. I agree. However, the lore that they have in this series is so fun. They really flip like the whole religious institution stuff on its head, because like the people you think are going to be the bad guys are the good guys, and the people who are like the good guys in terms of organizations are the bad guys, which, yes, it can be an anime trope, but they pull from a lot of like medieval lore to really build it up, but then add in the Japanese lore as well. So it's such a fascinating mishmash. And I love when people do that with mythology. And so I always say, like, yeah, like there's teenage cringe, of course, but that's like 90% of anime. And if you can get past that, you can find a way to enjoy it. Plus, Kuro is one of the best anime cats in
Can't
like,
argue
anime.
with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
what
biased.
I find fascinating about Blue Exorcist when it comes to religious stuff.
Stop biting my hand.
We have another Kuro. Kuro biting a Kuro.
I have a kitten. That's what I'm talking. I'm sorry, guys. Listeners. Anyway, you were saying.
What's interesting to me is that it takes all of these terms, all of these various religious concepts from all kinds of religions, not just Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of makes its own version of that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
it's something pretty original-ish.
There is literally a Satan and a Lucifer, and they are two very different people.
They're different characters completely, and it is really fascinating because it took me a minute to get it. But then once you get it, immediately it all clicks, and then it just opens up storyline potential. That Lucifer is in like Morning Star. Lucifer.
He is a demon of light. It's really weird but interesting.
Yes, which has, it pulls a little bit from some of the medieval lore and Kabbalah lore.
I mean,
and
Lucifer
then you have
was
Satan,
the angel of light, so it fits.
Yeah, and Satan fits that old school Christian version, except Satan in this, even in the story, is kind of a mystery because all these different factions claim to represent or want to represent Satan, but like we don't actually know this character outside of the weird part of season 1 that we all want to pretend never happened.
Oh, there's a little more than that. We do see him possess Father Fujimoto at the beginning.
Yes, yeah. But like I'm saying, like he hasn't really shown much of a presence or influence, like a direct influence over things since then. So
keep watching this space. I'll say on that one. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, my input as someone who studied and was made to study a fair bit of theology back in the day is Catholic theology specifically. Is that
we're all lapsed Catholics?
All three of us. There you go.
Yeah. So back, if I recall correctly, and someone correct me in the comments, or you guys correct me if I'm misremembering this, but if I recall correctly, in the Old Testament, and even in the Gospels to some extent, Lucifer, Satan, I forget which word is used, is more an angel who's employed to test people rather than evil for evil's sake, is the kind of thing. So the perception of him kind of twisted in the Christian zeitgeist over time.
Yep. No, that's true.
So National there really isn't a whole lot of
great series on this. Yes. No, you I'm so glad you said that. So this actually makes sense because it's only in late medieval times where those two became conflated as the same being, whereas in traditional Semitic literature, it was a separate character, or whatever. Yeah,
there's Kabbalist stuff. There's all different stuff from different sects of Judaism. Then there's what Christians came up with, which it's amazing how little of what we think we know about angels and demons comes out of the Bible, because there's almost nothing there. Is the thing. So
there'll be gnashing of teeth.
My only opinion on that whole thing IRL is that I don't want anything to do with it because it's fucking scary. But and I don't want to take the risk of whatever. But in terms of using it for fiction, you actually have a great deal of leeway.
Yes.
Absolutely agree.
And because a lot of different writers have taken different takes on this, like Mephistopheles being from German folklore specifically, but he's Mephistopheles in the actual show, but he represents a different character, but he's a Faustian legend, like things like that. Like just like you said, there's a lot of flexibility when it comes to fiction. And I would say, Olive, stop it. Sorry. I would say that I don't think that should be a deterrent. If someone is a bit traditionalist and still is an anime fan and they don't want to see something butchered, this shouldn't deter you because it's all fiction. And honestly, if your faith can't stand up to a fictional rendition of something, then that's, you maybe need a little more self-examination.
I mean,
Sorry.
it's literally, hey, we're borrowing all these terms and we're making up our own meanings for it. It's no different than Evangelion going, yes, the spear of Longinus.
Yeah,
Okay.
the angel.
Yeah,
But also, yeah.
It's an equivalent to historical fiction. Like,
Yes.
for example, when I played Assassin's Creed back before it ended, and there's only so many Assassin's Creed games, and I will stab anyone who says different. But anyway, so, particularly with Assassin's Creed 3, because I know a hell of a lot about the American Revolution. I have a degree in history, mostly with American history. So there's a lot of the simplification that they do, it was fine. There's some things that just made me want to kill somebody because sticking closer to reality would have made a better game. But anyway, the point is that's, it's pretend. It's whatever. It's not pretending to be particularly real. It's kind of the same with this stuff. Also, just to kind of address what Kuro said earlier, about self-examination, just in general, if you don't have a sense of humor about your religion, politics, whatever, if it's so central to who you are that you can't have a sense of humor about it, you need to broaden yourself.
I completely agree.
Because you're in a very dangerous place psychologically. That's where a lot of hurt to a lot of people comes from, is people who have only one dimension and define themselves by it and act out against the world. That's a consistent pattern, whether it be politics, religion, whatever.
Yeah. And I would point out that a lot of this mythology, and I'm using that term for this specific series in general, what they're pulling from, is based off of sources that have been created and changed over the centuries. So some things that people may think, oh, this is canonical to the Bible, that's not true. These are all various interpretations from different literary sources that are vastly different in publication times. Like I said, Mephistopheles, Mephistopheles as a concept is Faustian, okay? Which is like,
well, if we want to get into the nitty gritty,
1700s Germany kind of thing,
Want to get into the nitty gritty? What even is the Bible? Like, do we count the Apocrypha? Do we not count the Apocrypha? There's a big debate there.
You didn't realize
let's just. I'm just going to arbitrarily pick one definition of the Bible, which is what the Catholic Church recognizes. Yeah. It is so many different. It spans thousands of years. It spans dozens of cultures. It spans dozens of genres. Yeah. You practically need to study each book or set of books as its own thing. Yes. But just a couple more points before they slip out of my tiny mind.
I love this topic.
No, this is great.
Yeah. So one is anyone, if you're not sure what's in the Bible and what's not, go look up. I'm sure there's a lot of great articles on the internet that'll tell you the chapters and verses and books for what's in the Bible specifically about angels and demons. It's not a long list. Yeah. Go look it up.
Historians Reddit. Read, do the search button and ask historians Reddit, and they have a lot of scholarly stuff there.
Well, what's interesting, since we're all, lapsed Catholics, a lot of the stuff that we would take as, Christian view on demons comes from, outside extra biblical sources. The Catholic Church in particular has a lot of extra shit.
Oh, yeah. and it's kind of stuff you kind of that you're not, at least in my experience, you're not directly taught. You just kind of pick up by osmosis.
Yep.
The other thing I
Absolutely.
wanted to say is another thing that I think has had a huge influence on how we think of angels and demons, but most people don't think about because you're not made to read it in school anymore because it's huge, is Milton, Paradise Lost.
Yep.
Which I have not read it, at least not in its entirety. I really should, but
I haven't read all of it, but I read a good chunk of it when I was in high school because I went to a Catholic high school.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, maybe when you really get into this stuff, what you're doing is you're playing historiography, just like with anything. So, and it's fascinating.
Yes. And honestly, if you don't want to read Paradise Lost, you can do the TLDR version. National Geographic does an excellent breakdown of the different sections of heaven and hell and what the author and Dante and what they're going through.
Dante. So there's been lots of it's very much like any historical debate where people come in with different viewpoints and so forth. It's the same idea, only this is really an evolution of folklore, mythology in the sociological sense of the terms.
And represented
how real it is up to you.
Yes, it's representative of the times the author lives in and what values the author was writing about at the time. And there's a lot of political stuff injected. Surprise, surprise.
What?
So
no
I know.
Way.
Yeah, so some of the things you'll see.
God. Dante's so shameless with that.
Yeah, he's really shameless with he's shading different Italian politicians that he thinks are corrupt. And also, I think even in Milton, he inserts his opinions secretly in the poetry too. So
it's implied. That one.
Yeah, I mean that's the mark of a good author is that they do it in such a way as to engage you rather than repel you. For example, there's a lot of people screaming about how Hollywood in general is hitting people over the head with messaging. It's because they're doing it badly. If they were doing it well and making engaging stories, I don't think most people would care as much. And they'd probably actually be better at getting their points across, whatever they happen to be.
But this is something
they should pay writers more. That might help.
Yeah, that helps.
or get writers.
Or let their writers write. I mean, for God's sake.
Well, the other thing is that and this is, I don't know, but this is the general opinion of a lot of commentators that I've seen, is that a lot of these people who they do hire to write don't seem to have a whole lot of life experience. And so it's very much that SoCal bubble. And so you get something that doesn't have any depth or breadth to it, and therefore is uninteresting.
To that. I've also seen how good writers, though, have commented, we tried. And
I see that in anime too, though.
Oh yeah. You'll get people talking like, I submitted this draft and the powers that be didn't want it.
Oh, I believe it.
And so they had to dumb it down until it got accepted. And so it's not just that they're not hiring good writers, they're micromanaging them. So even if you do get a good writer, if you don't let them write.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if you don't have any controls at all on the creatives, you wind up with Hideo Kojima. So,
or the prequel trilogy,
exactly. Yes, or George Lucas.
And God bless him, regardless. I love that man.
There needs to be good, solid creatives of all different types working together, and there needs to be people who are able. Yeah, there need to be editors of all sorts, and there need to be they all need to have the power to there can't be too much power on any given side. It has to be a collaborative relationship, and that's where you get really good things.
It's amazing. And oh my god, the sex
wait a minute,
is
weren't we
real.
supposed to be talking about an anime?
I think so.
Yeah, we've lost the
we
plot
lost
here.
the plot here, but it happens. Ark, I think that's your cue.
Yeah, I should stop distracting you guys and get the hell out of here. So take care, everybody. Remember to scritch your cat, girls, and I will see you later.
All right. I love that guy.
It wasn't my place. It was not my place to get us back on tangent because the
No, honestly, I'm probably gonna keep most of that because it was interesting. But yeah,
I didn't realize even.
Oh no, we just nerded out to like a whole bunch of stuff, and I love it. So that was great.
Yeah.
Side note, I don't know if you knew this. half of the reason we call it Simuldub Saints is a joke reference to the fact that Ark and I are lapsed Catholics. That's half of the reason.
Yes. Well, I am as well, so I
There
never
you
have
go.
a problem with discussing that. But yeah, so we're on to Blue Exorcist, episodes 7 through 12, which is the last half of the Illuminati arc. Yes.
Yep.
And where we left off, we had Izumo was kidnapped by the Illuminati. They want her to host the Nine Tails, which is a very volatile summons that her mother, this Tanaki clan, they used to control through their dance. Her mother was kind of this flaky lady who was having this affair, which is how both her daughters were born. And anyway,
she's gets the
been
Gendo
tortured.
School of Parenting Award.
Yeah, she's been tortured to death, trying to contain this summons, while Dr. Geduin, who is
this guy.
the comical villain of this particular arc.
He's a literal toad man.
He is. He's awful.
He's
disgusting.
He is disgusting inside and out.
I hate the way they made his physical design reflect that. They made him short and fat, and he's odious already. Sometimes I feel like when anime does physical manifestations in that way and uses those tropes, it's so unfair in other ways, but whatever. That's that. He's horrible. He's completely torturing these people for his own amusement because he's trying to find whatever. I wasn't really clear in the first half, but in the second half, it's kind of elaborated, so we'll get into that. And then Shima,
he does have a goal. He's just kind of a jerk ass about it.
Yes. And Shima, we learned from the first half, was a traitor. And so where we left off, Shima had betrayed and captured Izumo, who was running away from Takara, thinking he was the traitor when he was trying to help her. And Shima grabs her, kidnaps her, and takes her to Illuminati. He's revealed to be a plant, as far as we know, up until episode 6. And then Takara goes and tells, with his little puppets, he tells the Exorcist friends as they gather, here's what's happened. And so they all have decided they're going to go rescue her. So that's where we left off. So when we were there, Izumo, and we know that she's semi putting up with this because she's trying to protect her little sister, who I don't think we knew she had one up until
that moment. No, we did not.
Yeah, so we know she has until this season. We had no idea she had a little sister, Tsukumo, I believe her name is, and she's doing this to protect her. So this is this brilliant move by her. I have to really respect this. She has this complete freak out, and she's just screaming I don't want to die, and then grabs a weapon and tries to make a break for it to run away, getting her summons, Mike Nuke, and she's making a run for it. And I love that. I love that she just faked them out helpless girl to fierce warrior, and the foxes, her familiars are saying, well, we know that the exorcists are on their way, the order's on their way, but she doesn't trust them now. She says no, and honestly, part of it was because of her upbringing and how she's very solitary. But then having the person that she'd started to warm up to as part of her friend group betray her like that, she's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to save myself. And honestly, from her perspective, I could understand that.
Yeah,
as a viewer, you're as a third person, you're no, they're really trying to rescue you. Why are you being so dumb? But imagine if you're her and you're this vulnerable, and the person you thought was supposed to save you kidnapped you and betrayed you, you're going to be I don't trust any of these people. I'm going to save myself.
The only person who was good to her, that was able to do what they promised, died.
Yes.
So it's pretty clear she has had a really rough patch with trust issues are completely understandable in her situation.
Yeah. And then we get to flip back to our heroes, and they're calling Mephisto. It's really funny.
Gosh.
He's in bed, and he's got a one of those body pillows.
Freaking, he would. He
That was
of all the people,
insane.
he would.
I just had to mention it because it's just so funny. He's like got all his stuffed animals, and he's like, I can't come right now, so just do your best. like I mean, you know, he's gonna send someone eventually. It's just like I'm busy. I'm in here cuddling with my body pillow kind of shit.
Yeah, I'm good. It's fine. Everything's fine.
He's such a massive troll, but I do love him as a character. And then we have Kuro finally, and he is so ready to rescue because he's the best kitty ever. And they approach the fake village, which was a front for the Illuminati doing their experiments, and he goes into Nekomata mode, and you just see him pouncing his paws on people. I love it. I'm like, I need all the scenes to
I
do
was
this.
so happy when I saw them. Like, Kuro's gonna love this.
I loved it. Best scene in the whole series. And they go through, and this actually took me for a spin. They end up in this creepy shopping mall. I was like, wait a minute, what the whiplash is happening here? And then they flip back, because they do a lot of flipping back and forth between the three different narrative streams here. And you see Shima trying to recapture Izumo, and he summons his black shadow. And he fucks up one of her familiars, Mike, like takes its paw. And it's like, I was so in hate with Shima at this point.
Oh
my gosh.
understandably.
And she's just sitting there yelling at him, and I'm like, girl, you need to kick him in the balls. Why are you wasting time? If Shima of all people will be vulnerable to some ball kicking.
Yeah.
Yes. And we zoom back to the mall. I still don't get the whole thing, but the mall, and then some ghouls show up, except they're not ghouls, and then we get a nice conversation about the difference between zombies and ghouls, which I didn't know there was a difference, but
It
I felt
depends on your
very
continuity, but
educated.
here that appears to be the case.
Yes, we had it. We had a nice education. Apparently, zombies can talk and ghouls can't. But you know, we're having this Day of the Dead moment over here. It really makes me hate shopping malls actually watching this.
Yeah, I mean, I already am not a big fan, so between this and Dead Rising, yeah, no zombies, no malls. We'll just gotta throw them both out.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Dr. Gedouin is watching them like the weirdo he is, and he says, you know, they're all his failed experiments. God knows what these are at this point. But then realizes that he sees the twins, the Okumura brothers, and kind of freaks out that they're there because, you know, they're
oh my god!
Well,
the kids are the Satan's kid are here. Oh no!
Yeah, and we know that Lucifer from the first half he's the son of Satan too, if I recall correctly. He's
correct.
Like,
yes.
So and then Kuro, meanwhile, is just trotting along. He's a happy boy. He's got his tail up. He's doing his thing. He's like, I'm with my friends and I get to attack people. This is great. But the kids get caught up in Dr. Gedouin's trap, of course. Figures while Kuro's looking for snacks and gets separated from him. And Shima summons is also neutralized all of her familiars, which is devastating to her. They try to protect her and they go into this really cool, like glowy mode, and the black, what is it called? It's like a fire, black flames or something.
Yeah,
it kind of like envelops them.
Montaka, yeah.
Yeah, it envelops them and snuffs them out, and she's just devastated because she's had them her whole life, and she thinks like, oh my gosh, they're gone forever. And at this moment, I just hated Shima. I was like, okay, you went from like asshole to just whatever the next level is from that. Like, how would you do this to her?
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're listening to this, you know what happens, but
which does change the context, but at that particular moment, he's incredibly hateable.
Yes. And we can talk about that. I still have mixed feelings when it comes to Shima.
Understandable.
Much like his friends. Yes. But his demon takes out Mike, and then he takes out Uke, because he's a son of a bitch, and poor Izumo is like...
Well,
these were my brothers.
Now it's definitely led like they're dead. Yeah, I could totally see why that would be like, oh, and that is what it comes across like. That's horrible.
Yeah, and when he passed out after he cast that, I was like, well, good riddance. anyway, maybe someone will step on his face. Maybe someone will step on his face. Didn't happen, but one can always hope. And all the exorcists were separated, and they're like in the little like sinkhole. I always love how these things are designed in anime, because you see like, oh, we just happened to put these traps here that worked just for this one group of people.
Yep,
So,
absolutely. Just convenient. Convenient that way.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, they probably were expecting to get raided by the True Cross eventually, so I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, instead we have this group of wayward teenagers. One of whom is a prodigy, to be fair, but still, they're all teenagers, which I think is important for how a lot of the storyline comes out.
Yeah,
that's my personal opinion. The way they react to things in general, you know. Anyway, we'll get to that. But then we get to see Commander, who we see Commander Lucifer. He wakes up and he's got this bizarre machine and needles and some kind of liquid pumping into him.
Yep.
It's not really explained, just that he says if it weren't for this machine, he wouldn't be in the state he is. And he credits Dr. Geduine for keeping him intact, so to speak. And I just am dying to know what that means. Like,
there will definitely be more details. There will definitely be more details.
So, because like I feel like this is so important to his character's pathos, and we just are missing all that information. And at this point, they don't explain it. Like, it's not often that I am interested in a villain's pathos, but I feel like with Lucifer, because it's all part of the Blue Exorcist lore, you really want to know why he's doing what he's doing. And if he's like barely surviving at this point, and he is a son of Satan himself, then you know what happened to make him like this. So that's just something to draw from. Yeah, and then there's kind of he mentioned something that I noted. Like he mentions chosen ones.
He does.
And there was a flashback to the Kyoto Saga arc and Tomo, the villain, the impure king, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that means if they say chosen ones, I'm thinking, as a non-manga reader and just purely as an anime watcher, I was like, there must be more of these guys, and they're going to come up later. So I found that really intriguing. And what does that mean too? Like chosen ones, like who are they chosen by? What are they chosen to do? I found that whole fascinating. I hate and love when they tease you like that. Like they give you a bit of a,
this is really cool, but tell me what's going on already.
Yes. It's like important lore. And like I have to hear 5 minutes of internal Dr. Geduine lore that the monologue that I don't give a shit about. But then you give me one line of something that sounds important and interesting. Like, why would you do that to me? Come on. Yeah.
It gets really interesting. This next season that we're getting, I think you're gonna be very happy with.
I'm pretty excited. Yeah, I'm interested in digging deeper. But then Dr. Geduine and Lucifer have this conversation. He says that Satan's sons are there and wants to know how to deal with the brothers. And he and Lucifer wants to. I think I may have mixed this up. He says he don't kill Rin, or he says don't kill Yukio.
He doesn't want either one of them killed, actually.
Okay. I remember he didn't want them killed, but I couldn't remember which one is the one he was like,
He's most interested in Yukio.
Yeah, that came out later, but like what he said specifically about Rin as opposed to Yukio.
It's been long enough for me, I don't remember.
Yeah. There's something he wanted from them, and then they talk about this weird elixir. I don't know what that's. That's all part of Dr. Gedouin's experiments. And then getting back to that,
the elixir is part of the treatment plan for Lucifer, because I won't say what, but there's clearly something wrong with Lucifer that they're trying to treat.
Yeah, it's some kind of immortality. All we know, it's related to some kind of immortality drug, because the zombies he's creating, by definition, zombies, they're the undead, they're the living dead. So, and even the exorcists have a lot of trouble killing them or getting rid of them. So there's this combination of like keeping him alive and then some kind of immortality situation happening, which is interesting. But also Dr. Gedouin has learned that now Izumo's compatibility with the Nine-Tails summons has gone from 98% to 0%, like 0.08 or something like that.
Kaiju number 8 compatibility levels here.
Yeah. I wonder what that's about. I guess they're comparing from when she was a child and she was rescued, not to when she first came in as a young girl, as a young woman. But he's like, this is where it gets a little comic villainy to me. The Doc's like, well, I'm just going to have to kill Rin to cover up my experimental failure that I'm going to try anyway. Like, you're a terrible scientist, dude. If you can't find a workaround to any of this and you're just going to try it knowing it's going to fuck up and then do it regardless. Like, I just watched this like, what are you thinking?
I get the distinct and strong feeling this guy is massively incompetent, and I think that's what that's supposed to get us across about him.
Yeah.
Is that this guy is kind of an idiot.
Yeah. And a narcissist.
Oh, an absolute narcissist, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a whack job. I don't think you can fix him. So he's like, I'm just gonna kill Rin, and then
if it doesn't go well, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Lucifer. And yeah, I love this mental image he's got that pays off. He's like, oh, it's okay, I forgive you. You've done the best for me. And it's just like, you really think that's how that's gonna go, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, get help. Yes. I don't think that would do anything for him, though. So he basically releases a whole bunch of his crazy, twisted experiments, which remind me of like the beasts from Scarlet Nexus. And it releases them directly.
They definitely have that feel. You're absolutely right.
Damn, you tell Scarlet Nexus 5, and he releases them into the holding cells of the Exorcists. You see each of them have this panic. And they do something funny here where they start out with Konakamaru, who like has this kind of history of having these freakouts, but we know he's actually really smart and strategic from the beginning of this season. So he's having this freak out. He's like in the mouth of this thing, and he suddenly collects his wits, and then he figures out a way to trick the beast to get him to escape, and finds Kuro, our little savior kitty.
Yay, savior kitty now.
Yes, they're having a miscommunication because he doesn't speak cat. And he doesn't understand that they're always hungry and they always want food. But Kuro's like, I'm mad because I don't have food. I'm going to beat up whatever this is. And it's just awesome and typical cat. I know, because I have a little mini gremlin right here with me who just keeps attacking my face.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme here. No, it happens. We have animals.
It's not my fault. The shrinking is not my fault. But Yukio, of course, is fine because he's, great at everything. When Konakamaru comes across Yukio, he's like, I'm fine, get the others. And he's like glued the zombie to the ground, the mutated zombie to the ground. He goes to get the others, and he kind of finds Shima. Suguro is fine. He has a bazooka. And then we get this discussion about him being a dragoon, and my mind immediately went to Final Fantasy, like, oh, he can jump.
Yes, okay, it wasn't just me, because I had the exact same thought. I'm like, oh, he's gonna jump up and just crash down, right?
I was like, I don't know what bazookas have to do with dragoons, but I guess he can jump. Apparently, no, there's nothing. None of that's relevant here.
It turns out White Exorcist can't jump.
No, they can't, which is extremely disappointing. But he looked badass in that bazooka, which was great help to him. And they get a nice Ryuji flashback Suguru Ryuji flashback to him being at the temple, which they like doing a lot for this group of three, Kodakamaru, Shima, and Ryuji in general. But they go back to their time at the temple and how he's trying to be a dragoon, etc. So he kind of does this. He's about to like blast him with the bazooka, but then he does a chant and releases. I guess he's releasing. I wasn't really sure because it cuts away to Rin running away from his zombie.
Yeah.
Which is what I would do. I relate to that really well. He's just like, I don't know, I just burned my way out of there and ran. he's really like casual about it. Like,
Yeah, whatever works. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's he doesn't want to fight anything. Like, if he feels he can't save it, or if it's not like human, like he's really reluctant to attack these things lethally.
Yeah, because they're in his mind they're humans.
Yes, which is understandable.
I totally get
for his age.
Well, and without the information of there's no going back, and you're honestly doing them a mercy, I totally get it.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, for his maturity level and his age, that's one of those things he has to discover on his own too.
Yeah.
Which I like that. I love Ren's character development because he always maintains some of that. He's got that intensity. He's got that kind of juvenile personality, but he also he's very principled. And I think that's such a nice little combo for him to as he finds how this applies to him in each situation, and especially given his demonic background too. So yeah. But we get to see two Shiami, our precious Shiami, getting free with Ni's help. I love the two of them. God, they're also, those are my other favorite scenes after Kuro, is anything with Shiami and Ni fighting together.
Shiami is just a treasure.
She is treasure. She does, and they give her enough. Like, I feel like she's stepping up to, and she's able to really hold her own. She's not like helpless. She's recognizing her capabilities. Like, she has moments of panic, like, oh no, but then like reacts to them now. So
she
I feel like
has
she's only
quite a bit of growth, and it's only going to continue. And it's one of the best things that this author does is these characters do not stay the same. They grow and change.
Yeah,
because that's what people do. People get better or worse in some cases as they go along.
Yeah, and they're kids. Again, these are kids. They're teenagers, so they're a long way off from being finished growing and developing personality. So
I think
it makes
that's
sense.
why I can forgive several of the characters I can, is they're figuring stuff out. I can get mad at them and be like, no, smack, stop it. But they're not done developing. They can change.
Yeah, part of me feels like there's some self-awareness on the part of the creator that there's a level of immaturity here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting that.
I absolutely think so, because none of the characters act older than they are. Even somebody like Yukio, he's very well written, but this is a child trying to act like an adult in the way that they think they have to act as an adult.
He's definitely trying what he thinks an adult should be, and you can see that as the viewer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not once do I mistake him for a mature adult, ever.
No, he's trying way too hard.
Yes.
But it's definitely not the case, and I like that about him because it shows where he needs to be.
He's honestly my least favorite character, not because of how he's designed, but just
he's
not
annoying. He's really annoying about what he does. I totally get that.
He's an annoying character in general, which is funny because I feel like he's presented like he's supposed to be a favorite. Like, everybody adores him, and he just annoys the shit out of me.
I don't like him in terms of, I love this person. Yeah. I like what they do with him. He fascinates me. He's interesting. And so I like the story around him. I don't like him because he's kind of I'm just gonna say, he's a little shit.
Yeah, he's an arrogant asshole.
Yeah. So I wouldn't go so far as to say I like him, but I'm glad he's in the story because he adds a great amount of, and I think we talked about this last time too. He adds a lot of depth to the story that I think would be missing otherwise.
Yes. And he's, I feel like in the earlier seasons, they were having them both be presented as opposites of each other to balance out. But I've noticed in this season, especially, we've completely gone off track of that in terms of them being balanced opposites. Like now there are different things about them that just don't really fit into that neat descriptive puzzle piece, but in a good way for character development, because there's some things that Rin does that he's right about that Yukio doesn't understand. Like, and we'll talk about this later, but about things about trust and friendship and about being vulnerable, that Yukio doesn't understand any of that, but Rin does understand the importance of these things and how that was presented. But back to the creepy Dr. Geto, and we spent way too much time in this guy's head. Holy crap. Why was he given so much script time? I felt like this second half of this, I loved the first half. The second half, what bothered me the most was just he got so much screen time and so much script time, and it was so obnoxious because it was like, this isn't making, like, we already know what he is. We know what his character is. Why do we have to hear him saying that stupid B or whatever in his head every time he talks about the commander? Like it didn't add anything for me to the storyline. I just found him so odious and obnoxious.
I think that's exactly why it's done. They clearly really want you to hate him, and it works. He is disgusting, and
he's pretty.
The reaction I'd have to him was incredibly visceral. I want to punch him through the screen every time.
Yeah. He's experimenting. He lures people into this weird mall thing and uses a drug in the food to induce ecstasy, the feeling of ecstasy, and then conducts his experiments on them, but also gets them kind of addicted to the substance. And then he has the balls to say, "I am quite human." Like, there's nothing human about you, dude.
No,
Go on.
This comes on to the lady doth protest too much. I'm human. Are you?
Yeah, but also ironically, the ones that are demons or half demons versus the humans, and who's the actual human here out of these? Like Ren being half demon is still more human in nature than the monster.
One of the things he likes to comment on: the more you have to say you are something, the less likely it's true. He likes to do the comparison of people who go, "Oh God, I'm going to hell," which I'm guilty of saying that all the time. Whereas people go, "I am good." Are you?
Yeah.
It's almost a self-assurance thing.
He made zombies on steroids. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm the most human.
Yeah. As he's describing his experiments, unfortunately. So Rin actually gets a glance of Izumo as she's dressed up in her costume to do her dance, and he sees her and rushes to her, and Shima shows up and interferes, and he's like, "I'm not having any of it." Izumo, of course, is having like this weird internal crisis of like, I don't need anyone's help, and she refuses him. I think at this point, I don't think it's so much Rin specifically she doesn't trust. I think she's now put it in her head that she's going to handle this situation the way she's going to handle it, and no one's going to talk her out of it.
I think that's a fair
Which is why this is why teenagers should not be given this level of responsibility. It's because they're irrational. They're irrational creatures. They don't have the capability of thinking through, because a rational person would be like, "Oh, someone's here to save me. Let's all fight back." And then they all fight together and they get away. And then they figure out a way for her to fix, because she thinks she's going to do this to save her sister. Like, now we got to find out where my sister is. That's how she's being manipulated. Like, a rational person would think through all these things, but she's blinded by her worry for her sister and her own prejudices and lack of trust, that she's just behaving this way. And Rin, of course, because again, even though he's the hero here, he's also irrational. He's just devastated that she doesn't want his help. And I'm like, wait, what? And you see him like kind of pause there, and he goes in his head a bit, like, what do you mean you don't want help? Like I would be just like, oh, okay, bitch, I'm saving you anyway, and then knock her out and grab her and go.
I mean, that would be the right way to deal with that.
Yes, but again, these are teenagers. They don't really know any better, so they're reacting the way you expect them to, and now that kind of leaves him.
Well, that's what I find this particular use of teenage heroes.
Yeah.
They do them in a way where it's completely believable.
Yes. Yes, they're immature and it shows, but then they're also they change their minds the way a teenager would.
Yeah.
Like
well, they like, also live and grow. So,
yes.
Like a teenager, and they learn.
Well, they have to.
And that's why adults are more rational. So they learn the hard way.
Yeah, but
we all learn the hard way.
Hubris. They have a lot of hubris, and for Izumo, it's she really thinks she can become this Nine-Tails vessel and contain this, and she doesn't know what we know is that she's not a compatible vessel anymore, but she thinks she can contain it, and she can use Nine-Tails to exact her revenge, which I gotta admire. Like that's some badass thinking. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, that's really, really clever thinking.
It's vicious, and I appreciate vicious, vengeful thinking.
I mean, if anyone earned it, this guy did.
Yeah. And here's where I start to get more of a hint that Shima's is not quite what he's saying. Because he's playing around with Rin. And he's like, if you want to say Izumo, she's downstairs as he's fighting him. Like,
I love that. I absolutely love that. Because that is the great subtle hint of him going, hey, I have to fight you to keep things up. But if you go down there... Go down there. Yeah. Why don't you go down there?
I figured it out by then, but at that point, like I felt like what he'd done to that point wasn't. It just didn't. There's a lot. I don't know. It didn't add up to me. But as soon as he did that, I was like, oh, I see what's happening here. Because then Rin's absorbed by this dark creature. But obviously, it's not fatal or anything, because obviously we wouldn't have. This is only episode 9. We wouldn't have.
Show's over, everyone. It's pack it up. It's done.
Yeah, and he's mentally like having this kind of crisis, trying to figure out what he's supposed to do. And I'm guessing he is able to hear and sense what's happening because Izumo. She goes on to have she begins this ceremony, and it's this. I do love this animation here. It's this really elegant dance, and it like goes back to Claus. It goes back to the dance that her mother does to contain the Nine-Tails. And she learned, and she was paying attention, and her poor mother, who's held up. That is disgusting, by the way. This is not for children.
No, definitely not.
Nine-Tails starts to emerge. And it's not really working because since she's not compatible, but Dr. Gedouin has found a way around this because this stupid little helmet can force possession. So it forces the possession onto Izumo. And because again, she's not strong or experienced or compatible, she immediately is in agony, which we could definitely we knew something was gonna happen like that.
Yeah, but just props to the voice actors here because, I felt that.
Yeah, the scream, and then they did nice imagery of her being in her head, and then the external as like the creature starts to merge with her, and like there's the internal dialogue, and part of it's like her own internal dialogue, and part of it's the Nine-Tails trying to weaken her resolve. It's really interesting, like seeing her weaken in that way, but she also has this realization that she, in spite of how she tried to reject them, she does love her friends and her family, and part of her does want to live. And then this is my other favorite part of this second half. Rin comes busting in like a badass, a blue flame hero, and everything's explosive. I absolutely loved this. I love this. He's just hears her. I felt like he must have heard because he comes in right at the moment where he's crying out and like just sets everything in flames. And then he does what we all wanted to do and punches Dr. Gedwin to get
Yes! Thank you!
Yeah. I appreciated that on a deep level. Thank you. Thank you for that, Ren. And then the zombies just turn up. I don't know. I guess there's just a lot of them wandering around, and they were released just in time. I didn't really like that part, but he's fighting them off because Izumo says, "No, you can't save me, but you can save my mother." And Ren grabs. He obviously sees a woman in distress, so he's like, "All right, I'm going to do that." And then like it looks a little bit still like they're hopeless, but Kuro, our hero, our real hero here.
the hero we need.
Yes, he's the hero we need. He jumps in with all the other exorcists, and they're like, "All right, we're here now, Izumo. We're gonna save you." And she's still kind of being stubborn, and she's clearly semi-possessed because you see there's like 3 white tails emerging from her, and then some fox ears, and her appearance is starting to change, and she clearly cannot handle this possession.
Such an emotional scene. It's so
well done. It is an extremely. The whole episode was extremely emotional. I think they really knocked this out of the park because her friends are like, "Well, what can we do?" And Yukio's like, we can't exorcise this. The only people who are experts at exorcising this demon are the Kamaki family. And I don't have the skill for this. It's just them. They're the only ones that know. And then that's when Izumo's mother steps up. And she has been tortured and strung up, and she's literally been a husk of herself up until this moment. And then we see her come to herself, if you will. Like she has this surge of strength and she starts communicating with the Nine Tails and kind of quelling it and trying to seduce it, saying, this spirit is not the right spirit for you. And it was actually really amazing because you get like, she was a shitty mom, and now she's found this moment of strength for her daughter, and she's decided like, this is what I can do. I know how to do this. I know how to take care of this demon. And the exorcists try to keep the zombies away while this exchange between the Kamaki family, well, I should say the mother and daughter, happens, where it's just very heart-wrenching but heartwarming as well, because she says a lot of sweet things about the purity of her daughter's heart and how her spirit can't, but I can. She's like, I can. And she says, a strong spirit like you and things like that. And she's trying to seduce the Nine Tails back inside of her. And she's weak. Like you're kind of thinking,
she's been dealing with this thing this whole time.
Yeah, she's held this spirit in for 5 years. And then she manages to pull the Nine Tails out of her daughter. And then she says it, which I loved this. Like, it was sad, but it was so well. She says she's going to die, but she's going to die with the spirit inside her, and it's going to die with her. And I'm just like, yeah! That's how you make up for
actual Mother of the Year award.
Yes, guess how you make up. And it's, you can definitely tell, like, I wish that we had a little bit more exploration of how these different clans and their different specific exorcism-related skills are contained within their clans, because her mother clearly has this ability and the daughter does not. Who knows what the youngest daughter would have if she were ever trained in this, but it's never gonna be relevant. But she performs this last act, which is a true act as a mother, and then calls Izumo her treasure before dying. And it's it's gut wrenching, but it's also really touching and beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And Ren states that she sacrificed herself to save you. And then, of course, we have Dr. Gedwin open his fucking mouth and ruin it all.
Yeah.
Like we're all having this moment. Everybody's having this moment, this tender, like, grief moment. And then he's like, I'm going to put this helmet on and get possessed myself. I don't know what he was thinking, but okay.
Gedwin is an idiot.
Yeah. When he did,
I don't think he thinks any of the things he does through, and this is clearly a further proof of that.
there's a moment when he did it, and I was like, okay, go ahead. I can't
do it.
Yeah. I was like, I can't imagine a really strong, powerful demon would want you as a vessel. So do what you're gonna do.
And screw around and find out.
Yeah. Apparently, though, like he gets the one demon that likes to eat zombies, and because these zombies are zombies on steroids.
Yep.
Yes, and they're all over the place. Like he's eating them, and it's making him stronger. This is the only part of the narrative that I feel was a little weak. The zombie part in general, I was not a big fan of. I loved the Izuma's family, her reclamation with her mother. I loved that part. I liked, the Exorcist trying to figure out how to manage the situation in a situation that when they're way above their heads. But like, I wasn't really fond of the zombies. But at least in the context of this, the only part of it that makes sense is that him being what do they call him? Zombie phage, something demon.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, him being a zombie eating demon, and getting strength from these steroidified zombies meant that, he can't just be taken care of traditional way. And Izumo's like, I can do this. I can exercise them. And she's calling on, she doesn't realize it, but she calls her familiars back thinking and they show up, and of course we thought they were dead, but yay, Mike and Uke are back and they're
here.
So
everyone's here.
Yeah, now we know Shima definitely didn't kill them. And they said that they weren't killed. And they said, it took us a while, but we were waiting for you to call us. And she's like, well, I'm ready to kill this dude, which I can relate to. It's completely understandable sentiment. He killed her mother, more or less.
Yeah.
But I love how they're like, the pink-haired one spared us. I still don't trust you or forgive you, but thanks for that.
It's a start.
Yeah. And Izuma says, well, I can expel this demon, but I'm going to need your help. And they kind of like slap her and be like, yeah, what's wrong with you? Of course we're going to help. What do you think we're doing here?
I love that.
That's why we're here, to help you. Like, she didn't realize it at all this time, but we can distract them so you can do your chant. And it's a really beautiful animated sequence with her dancing, and I loved the chanting. I'm a big fan of how they do chanting in this series.
Agreed.
I'm assuming they're speaking Japanese. It's or maybe it's specific dialect, but they're chanting, and it sounds very elegant, and I like it because it's not like traditional magic where they just conjure it out of thin air. Like she has to chant to get the spell to work. And you see like this beautiful light show, and the way the familiars are dancing around her, and they form up in these more powerful versions of themselves in order to help exorcise this demon. And it's pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome visual sequence. I think they did a great job. They did a great job. This
whole season has been masterfully animated the whole time, and but there are high points even above the norm, and this is one of them.
Yeah, they do. There's a little too much. I got a little too much whiplash with how they're going back and forth between scenes, and I did feel rushed in some cases, but they did have everything very smoothly and animated and pretty flashy when it needed to be flashy, which I liked. Like, and this is one of those cases where you want it to be flashy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So after she exorcises the demon from Dr. Gedouin, there's like this little slug thing left of him. It's pretty funny. Shima just shows up. He grabs leftover Dr. Gedouin, and then he splits. He's like, I'm here. I'm not coming back with you guys. And then he's out of there.
Like, hi, okay. Bye.
And then, of course, a little late to the show, the rest of the Shima brothers, Kinzo and Juzo and friends, they show from Kyoto. They all show up, and we're like, we're gonna help. And I'm like, where were you 2 episodes ago?
Trying to get here, apparently.
Yeah, but it was great. They show up and they help take care of everything and get them all back to safety. So Izumo, who passed out after casting her exorcism spell, she awakens and Takara hops in, and he lets her know that she starts crying. She's like, but I need to save my sister. And she's like, no, your sister's already been saved. The woman who saved you made a deal with the order. And my client has a gift for you. And this key, he hands her this key, and she uses it to go spy on her little sister, who you see her with another family, because she's calling them mommy and daddy. So she's clearly been adopted. And she looks like a miniature version of Izumo.
She does.
It's so cute. It's so cute. She's got her little hair, her pigtails and everything. And he says, you can visit whenever you want. Tsukumo is her name. So after her little Tsukumo's interaction with her adopted family, Izumo comes upon her in the garden, and she said she sees her, and Tsukumo clearly doesn't recognize her, which is kind of funny, because I feel like even for a, what is she, 8-year-old girl, she would have some self-awareness that the girl looking at her looks just like her. They look exactly like siblings.
They do look very close, yes.
Yes, but I guess she doesn't see that. She gives her that token, the little fox token she's holding on to. She gives it back to her, and then leaves. And of course the little girl recognizes the token, but she doesn't recognize her, which is probably devastating.
Oh, I mean, it's written all over her face.
Yeah, but she decides to leave anyway, and then I think you see this nice, finally, Izumo opening up, because she bursts into Shimi's hospital room and then just completely breaks down in front of her. Yeah, she's just like letting it all out, that she saw her sister didn't recognize her, but she's really happy for her, but it really hurts. And Shimi's like, she's being a good listener. And she's like, and why are you saying that? You don't understand how I feel. Why are you always so nice? Why don't you stand up for yourself? Why do you let me bully you? And then she's crying, and then Shimi's crying, and everybody watching.
Everybody's crying.
Everybody's crying. But Shimi's just really happy to see Izumo open up to her and feel emotions, because their friend Nori, who's Izumo's only friend up until that point, in her mind, had said to her, that she just needs to feel things, and once she does, it would be good for her. But she's never been open about her emotions and let herself cry or laugh or other things like that. So her having this kind of emotional breakdown and letting herself be vulnerable in front of Shimi, and Shimi's the right person for this too, because she's precious and sweet, and she's just made of green sugar.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then we have a cut to Suguro, who's standing outside the door like a weirdo, like, mind your own business. And here comes Ren. He's like, oh, hey, what are you doing? Like, because he just wants to check on the girls. He's just coming up. He's like, what are you doing? And then, of course, they think they're eavesdropping, and only one of them was being the weird eavesdropping creep. And so she comes out, and there's this funny little animated, like, girls beating up boys sequence. But it was really funny and cute. It was a nice little, like, wrap up to what was probably a really tumultuous and stressful time for her. But she before they leave to go back to the academy, she leaves an offering for her mother, who it seems that she's come to peace with. She kind of resented, she definitely resented her mom from the first part of the season, but now she's like,
so.
Yeah, because she's a terrible mother, but she saved her, and made the ultimate sacrifice for her. So she leaves an offering, and then meets when they meet at the train station. Nori shows up, and everybody hugs, and it's really precious. Oh, everybody's hugging, everybody's happy, and I love it.
Blue Exorcist is really good about these moments.
Yeah, it happens. Things happen kind of fast, though. I mean, at some part of me doesn't mind that everything keeps moving, but I don't know. I don't want it to drag out per se, but it just felt
No, but
like,
you want a
I
little
don't
more
know
time. I get what you're saying.
if the does this as well the way the anime is doing it. But obviously they had limitations on what they could show. They're trying to encompass all of this into 12 episodes. You know?
Absolutely.
I don't know. But now we have to have the whole like debriefing stuff. And Rin is upset initially as he's telling the other brothers, I couldn't bring Shima back. I'm sorry. Renzo, I should say, specifically Renzo Shima, their friend, the pink-haired Shima. And his other brother's like, I think it's Juzo, he's like, oh, you don't know this, but he's actually a spy. He's the double agent.
Secret
which we figured out by this
agent
point.
man.
Yeah. We figured out he's a double agent. I am still not happy with this guy. And yes, we knew this at this point by episode 11, we knew it was coming. But okay, so here's my take on the whole double agent thing. He was clearly, he must have been tasked with getting hold of this girl and had to do it because of to maintain his cover. But what would have happened? Like, he knew that this doctor was performing experiments and torturing her mother and was going to do the same to her. Like, what if they all hadn't been able to save her, or she hadn't been able to save herself? Like, what was his plan that he could have lived with?
He was working with Mephisto, and I'm pretty sure he was counting on the team to save them.
I just feel like,
and he's certainly like, hey, they're down there, go save them.
Yeah, he got lucky though, because it may not have worked out that way, and then like he would have been responsible for subjecting this person that was more or less his friend to torturous death.
He may have had some sort of a failsafe. Well, this has gone bad, but we'll never really know.
I don't give him that much credit. He doesn't strike me as someone who is. I think he kind of goes from moment. He's a little duplicitous, but I don't think he thinks that far ahead.
He doesn't, but Mephisto does. He may have had orders. Hey, if it all goes bad.
Yeah. The weird part is like this whole. The weird part about this whole character arc for him is that like he's like, yeah, I want to be a spy.
I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Yes.
Yeah.
His character arc on this is not done. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but it's a little flippant. I mean, he's still a kid. He doesn't really have any training. And
he does have training. He actually was trained. If you skip ahead a bit, we actually learned that Mephisto trained him.
Oh, okay. Okay, then that's fair, because they don't really show that
it's
at
not
this point
shown.
In the anime.
It's literally just dropped. Oh, yeah, no, like, when they flash back to, his recruitment, it's like, don't worry, we'll train you before we send you out. So that's heavily implied. He was definitely trained.
Yeah. I mean, the part of me the part that I don't like about this is he likes being a spy for spying's sake.
He does.
Like, he sees it's fun. He's missing the part where the danger and your loyalty deep down has to be so hidden but so firm. With Renzo, it's kind of like you're really not sure. His own friends aren't really sure if he can be trusted.
Nope.
Obviously, Mephisto, I feel like, recognizes some part of this and feels confident that he can manipulate him to suit his objective. Like,
whatever that may be.
Seeing that, yeah, I can see Mephisto seeing this, and like because he picks him to infiltrate the ranks specifically. I could see him recognizing that duplicitousness and Renzo Shima, and being like, I can use this. Whatever he does, like, I can make this work for me. But for Shima's sake, like, I feel like it'd be so easy for him to get lost in the role of being a spy. And then it turns out he's a spy for both, because he's a spy for the Illuminati. They send him back.
They send him back as a spy. Yep.
What? Which is a little comical. Like, he's like, they're gonna kill me. Fair enough. Yeah, that's they should. But of course they don't. But they're like, you need to find out what they're doing and report back. So how is he going to separate his two spy identities and figure that out? Like, that's that's a lot for someone, especially a teenager like him, who's so easily distracted. I just feel like I understand why when you see his friends later doubting him, it makes a lot of sense because
Absolutely.
he's so lost in this role, like you don't know what the long-term impact is going to be.
Agreed. And he's questionable. We don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what his mission is. Only Mephisto knows. Obviously, infiltration and rising up the ranks of Illuminati is part of it. And speaking of Illuminati, Gedouin, unfortunately, is still alive. The little
for now,
the leftover demon. He's unceremoniously dropped off by Renzo. Before Renzo goes back, he drops him off to Lucifer. And Lucifer just trolls the hell out of him. Like, there's nothing special about you.
He does kill him in the end.
He does. It's really satisfying. He calls him stupid, fat, vile, and profoundly cruel.
And
then he blows his head off.
All of this is true.
It was incredibly satisfying because it was from the one person he wanted to please. And he just tore him a new one before killing him. And I was like, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
And then he has this, like, this reaction clearly related to whatever deterioration is going on with him. He kind of spits up blood or something like that, and then goes back to his, like, I have my gold mask, I've declared war on the Order, etc. But go back and spy on them. Shima. And then we get to everybody's back at school because they're kids and they gotta go back to school, and
yep.
Ren walks into the classroom.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yes. I love that before that the freaking Ren's like, I'm Shima, look at me.
Oh my god, it was so funny. He was using his vernacular and like the shitzel and everything. He's saying all the things he says, and just as he comes in, Shima a minute later walks in, sounding just like exactly like how Ren sounded when he came in.
It was beautiful.
Everything's kind of back to normal. Like Shimi's kind of looking like, what the fuck is happening? Yu-Gi-Oh takes roll. Yu-Gi-Oh takes roll, and he's just like, Ren's not here, and he's like moving on.
Yeah.
Like, there's this pause moment, like, okay, wait a minute, guys. There's two of me. What the heck's going on? Yu-Gi-Oh's like, oh, I thought you guys were testing me. It was pretty funny. I was laughing so hard at that sequence. I loved dress up Shima. Like Ren's like, I'm gonna make this better. If you can't have Shima, I'm gonna be Shima. It's so cute. But like they're all mad, and I'm thinking like the one person who really is a good reason to be mad is Izumo here. They say they're glad he's okay, but then he gets headbutted by Sukuru. Yeah. And they all start beating him up. They're all like beating him up, and then Ren's like, well, I'll save you, but it's gonna cost you. And he like burns his clothes away. And even Shimi, she comes and she's like, guys, we have to stop. And then he like reaches up to grab her, but I think his clothes have been burned up, so she smacks him across the head. It was all very amusing. It was very funny. It was very cute.
It was very well done. And then we have the reemergence of Lewin Light.
Yeah.
Is still one of my favorite characters. It's
yes.
Like, yeah, what's going on, kids?
I'm excited to learn more about him.
You're going to see a lot more of him going forward.
He called Rin a derpy teenager, which is hilarious.
Absolutely.
I was like, I don't know what that is, but it feels right. That feels like that makes sense. But he asked them all, like, okay, can he's clear that they're examining Mephisto, and they want to know because they know that he made Shima spies. Like, do you think he can be trusted? And they're all kind of like, well. And she's like, well, I was asked to come back and spy.
Yeah, but he was.
I don't think I just don't know if he's smart enough to handle all this pressure. At least he told them.
He did tell them. Which does give you at least some idea that he's trying to do it right.
Yeah. And Rin quite outspokenly says, no, we can't trust you. But it turns out he's not talking about Shima. He's talking about Mephisto, which is a great point.
I did like that. That was cute.
Yeah. he says you were not forthcoming about the Impure King at what happened at Kyoto, so I don't feel like we can trust you. And he admits that he's yeah, I'm playing my own game, and you're all pieces and pawns in my game, and it's like you're not helping yourself, dude. But he does say his goal is to defeat Lucifer as he's mocking them all, and then lightning steps in. He's like, all right, kids, enough. I need to know what I need to know here. I really get the sense that he's a pretty cool dude. Like, I'm excited to see more of him.
Oh yes,
in the future.
Definitely some interesting things going on there, and I think we're based on the title for season 4. I think you're going to get some flashbacks pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm really excited. They did some good setup for the storyline to come, because obviously we have this. I think one of the biggest looming untold stories here is what's going on with Yukio. I mean, we know he's had these blue flashes of light from the last arc, and he's keeping it a secret.
And somebody
knows. Lucifer knows.
And so does Shima, which also means that Mephisto knows.
Well, I don't know if Shima knows about the eyes. He knows that he met with Lucifer. Oh. I wasn't confident he knew about the eyes at that point.
And that's fair. You could argue either way there. I thought he made like some kind of a comment about it, but I could be misremembering.
He says to him, he delivers the message from Lucifer away from everybody when they're just alone, the two of them, and Yukio like has this frozen face moment, and then you get a flashback to when right before Yukio's sort of saved by his brother, he got that offer from Lucifer to join him. But there's this interesting exchange, and Shima says, you should talk to somebody, which is echoed by Shura later on when he visits her in the hospital. She says you could talk to somebody. And this is the thing that kind of bothers me, like Yukio keeping this to himself. In the moment, and in the first part of the episode, I was thinking like, he's doing it because he's afraid, but if he's going to confide in anyone, the one person that would understand would be his brother. He'd be the one person that wouldn't judge. He wouldn't judge him, and he would understand.
But he's doing the teenager thing of only no one can understand my problems. No one.
I think it's even worse than that. I think it's because we see that last scene where what does he say? He says he wants to be. He has this flashback to this, but he wants to him and their father. But he's like, no, I don't want to be strong for Ren. I want to be stronger than Ren. And I think it's more about
ego.
It's ego. He doesn't want to be vulnerable, not to his brother or not to anyone. So having this problem, this secret, leaves him vulnerable, he feels. And he's decided, he comes to this conclusion, which is clearly like giving him this mini villainy arc, in my opinion. Like, I can't see this ending well for him or anybody.
No, I don't either.
If he's obsessed with like keeping this secret, and I mean, like, the person that knows is the enemy to the order. Like, how do you think this is gonna go down, bro? This ain't gonna end well for anybody.
No,
so I don't.
It certainly gets messy.
Yes, but before the darkness sets that will bridge us to the next season, we get a spa day. We have to have a spa episode. It's either a beach or a hot spring or a spa episode. In this case, it's a spa. They all get to go. They all get tickets from Mephisto to go play in the pools. And it's actually a really cute little mini arc, because these 3 demon monkeys show up, and apparently they're based off of the traditional speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil monkeys. And their mischievous quality is they get people to tell their secrets. And over here, Yukio's freaking out. He's like, no one can get me to tell my secrets, and kind of bolts out of there. But without knowing this, both Shima and Rin start spreading, and Shima's like, everybody already knew this about him. We have to go get in with these girls. And Rin is like, no one's getting with Shimi but me. I'm gonna slide down that slide with her. And I love that so much. He said that quiet part out loud, and it was great.
Yes,
it was excellent. He said the quiet part out loud, and even later, like super It's like, dude, you didn't say anything we didn't already know. I just love that it's now canonically out in the open that he is this crush on Shimi, because I totally ship them. I think they're so cute. They're so cute. But the boys are like duking it out, and like the stupid slides falling, and then Suguru's just like, it's okay, I have an easy summoning spell to get rid of all of this, and takes care of it. But it's a funny little interlude from like the last, that the kids recovering from, being in the hospital and everything, into this really dark ending with Rin standing in the dark in front of a window, like laughing maniacally about never wanting to be vulnerable. Like, you get to see this fun little moment in swimsuits with them. So
I do like that little,
liked that.
little fun little thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked this season. I thought the first half was stronger than the second half, personally.
That's interesting, because for me, I'd literally say the other way around, but not by a lot. Both halves to me were both very, very strong.
Yes. I think the weakness in the second half was Dr. Gedouin taking up a lot of screen time, and then it moved very fast, and I don't think we got to see a lot of action, like a lot of the cool fighting sequences. We saw like the coolest quote unquote action was Izumo's exorcism of Dr. Gedouin, honestly. Like, that was the most actiony part of that.
I'll agree with that.
The last 6 episodes.
I don't mind that so much, because for me, this was all character stuff, and I loved it. I eat that stuff up for breakfast. I love it.
Yeah. So we're leaving off it like at an important point in the story. I can tell as a purely anime watcher, what should we expect going into the next season?
Get very
like, without
disappointed
obviously
in Yukio.
giving things away.
Get very, very disappointed in Yukio, if that's even possible.
Okay.
More things with the Illuminati, more things with Lucifer, and if I'm right about the title, expect a massive flashback story arc.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
I could be wrong.
As long as there's
I could
Kuro.
be wrong, but the way that the art that they're using for the look at us, we got this coming, and the title, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a flashback, and it's a very good one.
Do we know how many episodes it's going to be yet?
Let me take a look at that news posting, see if I can find, because I don't remember.
I have it open.
Sweet.
Beyond the Snow just says, I don't see any indication of how long it will be.
Yeah.
In the announcement.
I'm so spoiled of you being actually getting that kind of information.
I would not mind if it's a little longer than 12. I'm not saying they need to make it 24 episodes, but like, if they could do 13, 14, 15, I'd be fine with that. We don't need to stick with these neat little numbers, 12 and 24.
Yeah, it could be whatever you need to do it.
Yeah, just give it a little extra, not to pad it, but to give you more flexibility to tell the story. Because if they set up so much potential backstory, like what's going on with Lucifer, what's his mission, what is his weakness, what's making him,
well, that is
disabled in the way he is.
This space that you'll definitely get.
Yeah, and then obviously, like, Shima's spying is not over. There's clearly some ambiguity about his character that hasn't been resolved, because they made it all, even within his friends, they're like, should we trust him, should we not? The consensus at the end was like, by Konohamaru was like, well, I'm gonna trust him because he was my friend and he saved me when he needed to, and he ran away when it made the most sense, kind of thing. And I didn't understand his logic, but I was like, okay.
Okay, I am seeing that they're doing 2 cores. Beyond the Snow will air in October, and the Blue Knight Saga will begin January 2025. So you probably are getting 24.
Good, maybe.
For 6 and 6. The Blue Knight, that is gonna be the flashback.
So we'll see Lou and Light again. Then I'm assuming, right? Is that what that'll be? Yes.
The Blue Knight is going to be what the Blue Knight was. That is your flashback story. That I can tell you that straight up. But will we see more Moonlight? Yes, absolutely.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it. He seems like a really fun character.
He is one of my favorites from the stuff that I up until recently was manga only. I love that man. I just
and him sort of fanboying over Rin was really funny as well.
I did like that.
He's like, "Oh, you're Rin. I'm wanting to meet you." Like he's kind of fascinated by this kid.
Yeah.
You know, not afraid of him or condemning him.
He just is who he is, which is honestly a fair reaction.
Yeah. As far as Yukio goes, I don't think he can disappoint me. I kind of am calling him going down his own villainy arc because his motives are twisted. He's tried so hard to be this grown up that he is, lost sight of the growing up that he has to do. And now that his arrogance has got to the point it is, like he doesn't know how to be vulnerable. He doesn't know how to trust people and recognize his own weaknesses. So now like he's holding on to a secret that is toxic. And the one person that knows it is the Order's enemy. Like, again, I don't know how he thinks this is going to go down other than badly and poorly, but okay, dude, you do you and hope for the best. Oh yeah, Mephisto sent the monkeys. He was definitely trying to make mischief. I love that guy. He's a great character. He's a great character.
He is really interesting because he seems to know when people need something like that.
Yeah. I kind of help but wonder if he has senses there's a secret Yukio has and maybe he was trying to be sneaky about getting it. I don't know if he's that smart, but
I would be surprised if that's not the case.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I like that they left it on. They contained the story of Izumi's kidnapping in a way that's like they finished that up, so they didn't leave that hanging as a cliffhanger. But there's an overall cliffhanging arc about, what the bigger picture is. That'll leave you wanting more to the story. I do like that
as well, and we're getting that, and we're getting back-to-back cores. That's a great time.
Yeah, I'm excited. As long as they have more Kuro fighting, I just hope that there's some good action scenes, like where you get to see the different abilities, whether it's like different familiars or summoning or exorcisms or, fighting sequences. Just, I like the creative ways in which they have the action specifically for this series, and I'd like to see more of it. It wasn't as explored as much in detail as it was in Kyoto. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we get to see some more of that. The different characters' abilities. That would be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you'll be happy with future developments then.
Yes.
But
I was pretty happy.
It's a good run, and we've got more to come. So there's not much to complain about. Blue Exorcist fans, we're eating good today.
Yeah. And if you haven't watched it and then listened to all this, I'm really sorry if I gave it away. But you knew what you were walking into.
Yeah.
You knew what you were walking into, so.
We did a whole other one, so, this is not even our first time doing this.
No. But definitely watch it. I think it's rewatchable. I feel like if I rewatched it, I would pick up stuff that I didn't pick up. Like I've seen it twice now, and there's a couple little details that I picked up on.
Having read it and then watched it, watching it, I picked up more than I did the first time reading it. So I absolutely agree that there's enough going on that you'll get more in subsequent viewing.
Yeah. The moral here, though, yes, is open up to your brother if you have a secret demon side.
Yeah. Once daily, actually talk to people about the demon in your eye.
Yes. It's highly recommended.
7 out of 10 doctors say it helps.
They're smart. They're smart, these doctors.
Yeah, pretty good. The alternative, just get clear eyes. I'll take care of it.
Demon clear eyes.
Demon clear eyes. We'll just get Ben Sun and go, wow. And just get exercised right out.
Anti-Satan, antihistamine.
All right. Well, I think that's about all we can really say about Blue Exorcist.
It's plenty. It's a lot.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah. I went on a bit. Sorry, guys.
No, I mean that's why you're here, because I knew you'd want to.
Yeah, I like talking about it. I like unwrapping.
And I like
stuff.
talking about it with you, so it's a win-win, and hopefully people enjoy the conversation. But I think it's time for us to turn things towards the back end here.
Hello, everybody. Pre-recorded Arc here to tell you that this episode of the Simuldub Saints has been kindly sponsored by the good folks over at Ace Chemicals. Whether commercial or industrial, from the most common compounds to the most complex concoctions, Ace Chemical has been proudly serving the world since 1951. Ace is excited to announce that its flagship processing facility in Gotham City has been rebuilt, again, and that they are now able to accept new business. Congratulations to Ace Chemical on another record-breaking reconstruction job.
So, Kuro, where can people find you?
In theory, you can find me on Twitter at Happy Kuro Kitty. And I also write and record for the Toonami Faithful podcast, so you may have heard me there before. And occasionally I host there as well.
You do a dang good job of it when you do.
Well, thank you.
Welcome. I'll speak for Ark because I already know if I asked him where he is, he'd be like, I'm in some place in a video game, but talk to LK. That's usually what he'll say, so... secretly, you can find him in Oscar the Grouch's trash can. That's my running joke with him. But you can find me on Twitter at Laser Prime. Allegedly, I'm on Blue Sky at LaserKid if I remember to go to Blue Sky, but
you and everybody else.
I have to remember that it's there because I don't.
Yeah.
And you can also find me over on the Too Not Faithful podcast, and I do write for Too Not Faithful. Allegedly, I need to work on some things on that front.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. I'm just slow at doing certain things. I'm bad. I'm a bad boy. But I do that.
You're very busy.
I do that stuff. And, yeah. Otherwise, you can find the Simuldub Saints over on at Simuldub Saints on Twitter. There is a Facebook group for Simuldub Saints, linked here on the channel, so feel free to go there whenever we update. I always post to both of those things. And yeah, that about does it for this week's Simuldub Saints. So until next time, catch you later.